Since January 20, and we're talking now about 15 months ago.
No, Joe, it's been 5 months. It only seems like 15. This is President Joe Biden.
I keep forgetting I'm president.
Yeah, we know, Joe. Anyway, back in April during his joint address to Congress, Joe Biden spoke about immigration reform and a fledgling border crisis.
For more than 30 years, politicians have talked about immigration reform, and we've done nothing about it.
I mean, he could have done something about it during his 36 years in the Senate, but totally not his fault.
If you believe in a pathway to citizenship, pass it. It's over 11 million undocumented folks, the vast majority of here overstaying visas.
And it wasn't widely reported on, of course, but fact check false. According to a February 2020 report by the Center for Migration Studies, of the estimated 10.6 million total undocumented population living in the United States in 2018, about 5.7 million entered across the border and 4.9 million entered with a temporary visa and overstayed. So for Biden to say that the majority of the undocumented population overstayed their visas, let alone the vast majority, is vastly incorrect. Furthermore, if someone came in with a visa, they're not quite undocumented, but whatever.
We also have to get at the root problem of why people are fleeing, particularly to our southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
The two main reasons that people are fleeing Central American countries are A, economic opportunity, and B, to be reunited with family members who are already in the United States, but Biden literally blames it on everything else.
The violence, the corruption, the gangs, the political instability, hunger, hurricanes, earthquakes, natural disasters.
It is not the United States' responsibility to fix a country's political instability or corruption. And what are we supposed to do about gangs and violence? Do you want us to go to war with the cartels?
When I was president, when I was vice president, the president asked me to focus on providing help needed to address the root causes of migration. And it helped keep people in their own countries instead of being forced to leave.
Yeah, no it didn't. When Biden claims that he provided help, he meant sending them a shitload of money, and a lot of it. Since 2001, the United States has given Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador over $2 billion each. And within that time, there have been several surges of migrants at the border from those countries.
The plan was working, but the last administration decided it was not worth it.
Because we were sending politically corrupt and unstable governments millions of dollars a year. But yeah, totally worth it.
I'm restoring the program and asked Vice President Harris to lead our diplomatic effort to take care of this. I have absolute confidence she'll get the job done.
So after VP Harris was given this very important task, it took her over 2 months to actually do anything to address it. Her first action was to jump on Air Force Two to fly to Guatemala. On that flight, she gave out these very bizarre looking cookies to members of the press, and yeah, it's a faceless image of Harris. Your tax dollars at work, America. While in Guatemala, during a press conference with President Alejandro Giammattei, Harris put out a stern warning.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come.
And that's contrary to her view back in 2019.
The strong arms of America should be here to receive anyone who is fleeing harm, not to flick them away and say, go back to where you came from. And that's the kind of policy we've had from this administration. And it is intolerable, it is unacceptable, and it will end when I am elected.
2 years later.
And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
So when the Trump administration said it, it was inhumane. But when the Harris-Biden administration says it, not the same thing. While in Guatemala, Harris granted an interview to Lester Holt of NBC News, and it didn't go well.
Why not visit the border? Why not see what Americans are seeing in this crisis?
Well, we are going to the border. We have to deal with what's happening at the border. There's no question about that. That's not a debatable point.
The problem is that the border crisis has been going on for months. There is nothing stopping the Harris-Biden administration from going down to the border.
But we have to understand that there's a reason people are arriving at our border, and ask what is that reason, and then identify the problem so we can fix it.
Hang on, I thought we knew what the problems were. Corruption, gangs, hurricanes, climate change. These so-called root causes have been identified. Either fix them or don't.
Why will it be successful this time if it wasn't in the past?
Well, I think there was success about what happened in the past. And again, when you look at what we're doing now, you're seeing progress. And so let's not overlook progress.
So what exactly counts as progress?
We announced it last week of 500,000 vaccines to Guatemalans.
I mean, that's nice and all, but they weren't fleeing for vaccine access, right?
Part of what we're doing is I've asked Microsoft to partner with us on what we can do to get people access to banking systems through technology and basically help them with their digital connectiveness.
Oh, I see. They didn't have bank accounts or internet connectivity. Wait, what?
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this.
Lester Holt's like, oh, I don't care about it, Madam Kamala. I'm only bringing it up because of the Republicans. Then, completely avoiding Honduras and El Salvador for some reason, Harris headed to Mexico City, where she was asked again about heading to the southern border.
Listen, I've been to the border before. I will go again. But when I'm in Guatemala, dealing with root causes, I think we should have a conversation about what's going on in Guatemala.
Except for the fact that she was in Mexico City at the time, which I can assure you is not located in Guatemala. But whatever, same difference. Anyway, at a press conference in Mexico City, President-in-waiting Kamala Harris took some questions.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Maria Fernanda at Univision.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. For me, it's an honor because I actually got to vote for the first time as a nationalized citizen, and I voted for you. So my question...
Talk about saying the quiet part out loud. And Harris doesn't think twice about it. She's just like, thank you. It turns out, though, that Maria Fernanda Reyes wasn't a reporter from Univision. Instead, she was just some woman. And she claims that Harris's staff made a mistake and misidentified her. But the White House pushed back, telling the Washington Post that Reyes misidentified herself to the vice president's staff as part of Univision's crew. And that's even worse, because that means that there was a vice presidential security breach in one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Well done, Team Harris. Well done. Speaking of Univision, Harris granted an interview to the network, who also pressed her on when she was planning on heading down to the US-Mexican border.
I've said I'm going to go to the border, and
When are you going to the border, Vice President?
the administration has asked... I'm not finished.
Someone is annoyed, but there is an easy fix. Go to the border, Kamala.
I've said I'm going to the border. And also, if we are going to deal with the problems at the border, we have to deal with the problems that cause people to go to the border.
All she needs to do is get on Air Force Two, hand out some cookies to the press, and then fly to the border for a couple hours. Then people will shut up about it. But the reality is that Harris or Biden going to visit anywhere isn't going to actually solve anything. Ultimately, it's all for show. And on that note, that's it for now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hope to see you next time. If there is a next time.